Michael Porter Jr. was born June 29th, 1998, in Columbia, Missouri. Porter grew up a vegetarian, but that didn't stop him from growing into a 6'10" frame, weighing at a healthy 218 pounds. Michael was always a top basketball player wherever he went. His first 3 years of high school, he attended Father Tolton High School in Missouri, where he led his team to the 2A state championship as a junior. That summer, after school finished, he joined the Nike Elite Youth Basketball League, where he averaged over 26 points and 11 rebounds, leading his team to the Peach Jam Championship, and he won co-MVP along teammate and current NBA star Trae Young. In his senior year, Michael transferred to Nathan Hale High School in Washington, where former NBA player Brandon Roy was the basketball coach. He averaged over 36 points and 13 rebounds for his team, who he led to a perfect 29-0 record to win the 3A state title. Michael won many accolades during his senior year in high school, winning Gatorade Player of the Year, McDonald's All-American MVP, Mr. Basketball USA, USA Today's High School Basketball Player of the Year, and the list goes on. Ranked as a 5-star recruit by every scouting site and either first or second in the country as a player, it's safe to say that Michael Porter Jr. had a bright career ahead of him, and everyone knew it. Being ranked and recognized as one of, if not the best basketball player in his class, every college team wanted Michael to play at their school. But even before his senior season began, he committed to the University of Washington, where his father was an assistant coach. Although after Michael's commitment, his father left the University of Washington to become an assistant coach at the University of Missouri, and then Michael ended up going there as well. Going to the University of Missouri basketball team, it wasn't really historically great, or even really good at the time. Going 8-24 the year before Michael got there, he would have to put the University of Missouri's basketball team on his shoulders in order for them to rise and be an elite team, as Michael always accomplished. Being a 6'10" athletic player with a good shooting ability, people believed that Michael would immediately be great in college. But this was something that we never got the chance to find out. In the first half of the season opener against Iowa State, Michael got a lower back injury. He was expected to miss the remainder of the season, but by the end of February, he was cleared up to practice with the potential to play near the end of the season. NBA executives wanted to see Michael play because he was a top player in the class going into college, which means naturally he could very well be the top pick in the draft. If Michael bounced back well and showed glimpses of what he could accomplish, then maybe he would be one of the top 5 or 10 players in the draft, maybe even first. But without him playing a single game in college, no one knew what to expect. Porter officially returned to play at the beginning of March in the second round of the SEC tournament, but he came off the bench instead of starting like in the home opener as a precaution for his injury. Although he came off the bench, Michael still played 23 minutes in the game, getting 12 points and 8 rebounds, which was the second most for each category on the team. Missouri ended up losing the game to the University of Georgia in a close 62-20 game where Michael Porter Jr. shot an abysmal 5 for 17 from the field, which definitely did not help his draft ranking. But it was the first full game of his college career, so maybe he was given a little break. Porter's second game was in the first round of March Madness. Missouri was the 8 seed and was playing Florida State, who was a 9 seed. Coming off the bench once again, Porter still played 28 minutes, leading his team in rebounds with 10, steals with 3, and being the second highest scorer with 15 points. Once again, Porter didn't have the best shooting percentage as he only scored 4 of 12 shots from the field, and Missouri ended up losing by double digits. At this point, it's safe to say Michael's freshman season did not go as planned. There was some disagreement about where Porter would end up in the draft. The fact that he didn't play the best in his 2 college games after only being able to practice for a couple of weeks coming off a back injury was counted against him by some pretty harshly, but others didn't really see it as a big deal. Some doctors also stated that Michael had about a 10% chance of re-injuring himself in the same spot in the next 5 to 10 years. Regardless, Porter was expected to be near the top of the draft. Bleacher Report and Business Insider both had Porter going 7th to the Chicago Bulls. ESPN had him projected to go 6th, and CBS Sports projected Porter to go 4th. Things were looking good for Michael, even though he still had some issues with back pains. But what really was the big shock to teams is that Michael had to cancel draft workouts a week before the draft because of muscle spasms that were apparently so bad that he couldn't even leave his bed. So, what ended up happening once he reached the draft? Porter fell all the way down to 14th place in the draft when the Denver Nuggets decided to give him a shot. And this is a pick I think they won't regret. Porter signed a 4-year, $15 million contract in his rookie season, which to some may be good and others may seem bad, but there was a lot of unknowns at the time. Should Michael have stayed in college? Maybe. If he stayed an extra year of college and played well, he would have definitely been a top pick in the draft. Looking at the top pick, DeAndre Ayton, his contract was 4 years, $40 million, while the number 5 pick, Trae Young, signed a 4-year, $26 million contract. So if he stayed an extra year of college and played well, he could have got some more millions of dollars, but I think it'll pay off in the long run. In Michael's rookie season in the NBA, he didn't actually play a single game because he got surgery for his back before the season began. So Michael, one of the most promising basketball players in the league, would have to wait. He'd have to wait while a young, promising Denver Nuggets team was working together and climbing to the top of the league without him. The Nuggets placed second in the Western Conference in Michael Porter Jr.'s rookie year, and then they lost in the second round to the Portland Trail Blazers. In his second year in the league, which I guess was really his first, so I guess we'll call it his rookie season, Michael actually did play pretty good. He started in 8 of 55 games for the Nuggets, averaging 16 minutes with about 9 points and 5 rebounds per game. With a loaded rookie class, Michael wasn't considered for Rookie of the Year, and he didn't make either of the all-rookie teams. In a strange season with the pandemic that led to the Orlando bubble, the Nuggets came back from 2 separate 3-1 series deficits, one of those being against the Los Angeles Clippers, who were favorites to win the NBA championship. The Nuggets then got to the Western Conference Finals, where they lost to the eventual champions, Los Angeles Lakers. Michael actually started in 3 of 19 games in the playoffs, playing nearly 24 minutes per game, with about 11 points and 7 rebounds. He was looking really good in the playoffs and even put up 28 points in a game. Being a rookie on one of the most promising teams in the league that beat the favorites to win the NBA championship and made the Western Conference Finals is a good sign in itself. Lately, the Nuggets have a really good all-around team with a lot of depth, led by 25-year-old Nikola Jokic and 23-year-old Jamal Murray. So what if I told you that 22-year-old Michael Porter Jr. would add on to one of the best duos in the league and make it a big three? Starting in almost every game in his second season, Michael is in the top 3 for points, rebounds, minutes played, and blocks for the Nuggets. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? The Nuggets are building up one of the most exciting squads in the NBA from the ground up. This means that the players on the Nuggets very well might stay there for a long time. Michael has everything going for him to be a great player in the league for years to come. Being nearly 6'11" with the ability to run the floor and make shots, I'd say Michael Porter Jr. has the ability to be better than Ben Simmons. He's got a lot of work to do on his passing and defense, but I think he'll get there. If Michael Porter Jr. ends up being a multiple-time All-Star, and even more, don't say I didn't tell you so. I'll leave you with my favorite Michael Porter Jr. highlight, a brutal posterization. Like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching.